Hi everybody, it's Catherine and I'm talking today from beautiful San Diego, and this is Charlie, the girl dog. She is my friend and colleague, Erica's dog, who I'm visiting here in San Diego. And today I'm really excited to talk to you about fear and how to overcome it. And I guarantee that this video today is going to go in a different direction than you might think. Because in shadow work, the way that we overcome fear and really permanently heal fear is actually to completely and utterly accept it as part of our experience and to move forward with the fear, befriending the fear. I want to talk about the definition of fear, first of all. One of my very favorite books of all time, which is called Emmanuel's book, which is a channeled text, it defines fear as an empty room. Fear is an empty room. And what that means is that fear has no content in and of itself. You might have heard the phrase or a phrase like it, the only thing to fear is fear itself. It's because there are really two forces in the universe, and I'm sure you've heard this before. There's love and there's fear. And love is what pulls something toward us, and fear is what pushes it away from us. So fear, very simply, is this impulse to push away. It has no content of its own. It is an impulse that we have as beings in a apparently separate body, out of our own self-protection, to push something that we perceive as threatening away from us to protect ourselves. So it is just it's an impulse. It's an impulse for survival. And anxiety, which is on the rise today, which affects so many people's lives, really is fear. It is fear that has taken on such a great proportion of the population that it's making people who have their survival needs completely taken care of fear life nevertheless. So especially if you or people you know experience anxiety, this video, I hope, will help you overcome that fear, which is the anxiety. So in our modern world, of course, there aren't tigers coming around the corner for most of us, but still fear controls most of our lives to an enormous degree. So one of the reasons for that is emotional neglect. So fear is this impulse to pull away from the potential for feeling challenging emotions. And I'll give you an example. So let's say that I have performance anxiety, and so this was true. So I was a competitive dancer, a dance teacher and a competitive dancer for many years. But I put off competing quite a while because of performance anxiety and perfectionism. And so if I really feel into that fear of performance anxiety and I allow it to take over my body, what I'm feeling is this contracting away from, this pulling away from the potential for feeling humiliation, embarrassment, and shame. So fear is an empty room, right? It has no content in and of itself. What it is that impulse that pulls away from the potential for feeling. So in order for fear to be operative in our life, we have to think about feelings as a threat to us, right? We have to think about shame, humiliation, embarrassment, for example, as overwhelming, incredibly threatening experiences. So truly the way to overcome fear is to befriend those challenging emotions. But I want to talk about why that's so difficult for the vast majority of us. And that is because the vast majority of human beings on this planet have undergone massive emotional neglect. And even if we have the best parents in the world, their parents and their parents' parents and so on haven't known what to do with emotions. We, as a species, in the last at least several hundred years, if not prior to that, have really pushed emotions away, and we've parented like this. So for example, and this could be very, very benign seeming. So for example, let's say that my child is upset because let's say something happened at school or something, and I say something like, I'll make you your favorite dinner so that you'll feel better. And that's all I do. Or that's actually a form of emotional neglect, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm not validating that feeling first and foremost. I'm not mirroring back to him or her, I see that you feel really sad. Tell me about that. Or what can we do to talk more about this, and mirror it back to them that first and foremost, I see that they're feeling this way, to validate that feeling. When we move straight to the let's fix this, we're actually committing violence to their very life force, because emotion is simply energy moving through our bodies. It's energy in motion, emotion. And so when we don't mirror and validate an emotion, what we're saying is, let's push it away. And this is where fear comes in. Fear, as you would remember, is pushing emotion away, pushing the potential for emotion away. So when we're parented in this way, which again, many of us with the best parents in the world have been, we come to distrust our own life force in a very fundamental way, because like, I feel these impulses, this anger, this sadness, this shock, or whatever the unpleasant emotion is, but we've been trained to get rid of it. We've been trained to fix it, to turn away from it, thus to be afraid of it, to push it away. So the more we can validate our own experience, our children's experiences, our friends' experiences, and first and foremost say, I see that you're hurt, I see that you're angry, and tell me about that, instead of jumping to the let's fix it. Or I'm sure many of us have been parented in a way that we were outrightly punished for crying, for having challenging feelings, especially for getting angry. And just think about what that does to your sense of self-trust, and thus when we don't trust ourselves, we fear ourselves, and there's your anxiety for you, your adult anxious condition right there. So I'd like to guide you through a really simple process right now. So go ahead and bring something into your awareness that you're afraid of, big or small. And start to imagine, maybe close your eyes, imagine yourself in that circumstance or with that person, or right about to do the thing that you're afraid of, like public speaking or performing or jumping, bungee jumping, something. And as you close your eyes, start to breathe into that as if it's really real. Just breathe into it and get curious about what your body is doing. Get curious about where you feel tension, contraction, maybe a jitteriness, maybe your heartbeat is starting to get faster. Just really pay attention to what's happening in your body. And simply by choosing to become aware, as you are right now, of this fear, you're already validating it, you're already healing it. So just go ahead and take this a step further by inviting these sensations to expand and intensify as much as you can. So fill the room with these feelings. So breathing in and out and allowing them to expand and intensify. I like to tell my clients, breathe as if you are blowing on embers of a fire. Every time you exhale, it gets more intense. And then notice as it intensifies how it's feeling. You might feel a sense of relaxation, just a little bit, maybe a little bit less contracted. Keep breathing. And now imagine, you might pause this video and do this for a while, but imagine yourself, your sense of self, as if you are even bigger than the fear. So keep breathing and now imagine that you are as big as the sky, the landscape. And that yourself, your sense of self, is so far expanded that it holds this fear. this aversion to feeling, with the energy of the most loving grandparent. This accepting energy that, yes, of course you feel that way. Of course it's hard to feel those emotions that are challenging. It's okay. Breathing in that compassion into the experience. And so, again, you could continue this for much longer than I'm guiding right now by pausing this video. But this is a very small sample of what you can do so that you can act with the fear. So the way to permanently heal your relationship to fear is not to negate it, is not to fix it or push it away, but rather to accept that as biological beings who of course want to be safe, fear is, we're going to naturally feel this pushing away towards certain things. And so the trick is really to take a step forward and act with the fear, not in spite of the fear, but rather befriending this fear, including the fear in your whole constellation of experience, so that you can be both brave and afraid at the same time, truly as all heroes are. So I thank you so much for watching this, for diving into fear, and I wish you brave and afraid actions and adventures. Take care.